What happens when the thing you've barely dared to dream for actually comes true? How does it change you when what you've been believing for and almost given up hope on finally becomes reality? The Redefining Possible podcast spotlights guests with stories of insurmountable odds who have witnessed the impossible become possible with God. Welcome to Redefining Possible. I'm your host, Peyton Hoffman, and with me today is Maddi Jane, singer, songwriter, amazing human being. And yeah, Maddi, welcome. Welcome to Redefining Possible. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. This is amazing. I can't wait to just talk to everyone.
Dive in. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for those who maybe did not grow up on YouTube, and maybe didn't see you as a child on YouTube or on The Voice, give us a little background just of this, the first time you remember dreaming of being a professional singer, like how that came about, and just a little background on yourself, just for folks who may not know.
Yes. So I grew up in Wheaton, Illinois, and I was homeschooled. I loved theater so much. So theater was where I sort of got my passion for performing and singing and acting and dancing, and was surrounded by such a great group of people to figure that out with, just from the age of like 8 years old to like 14.
Oh, so good. So at 11, you were, you mentioned being semi-professional, but you were on YouTube and you gained a ton of traction, a ton of just an audience. It's your own audience on YouTube. And you were what, 11 at the time? So how, you mentioned growing and learning about the business aspect. Things you really shouldn't have to think about at 11. How did that come into play with, okay, this isn't just a fun dream, this is actually a business?
Yeah. So it was kind of the age of YouTube where like we didn't have TikTok, we didn't have Vine. It was just when digital art was starting to like take place.
Yeah.
So, I feel honored that things were posted of me at that point in time. I didn't upload it. I think it was like my guitar teacher, like my dad or something. And like the Ellen show was really big at that time. Yeah. She was hosting a talent show. Like one of the producers from her show found me, scouted me for her show. And I remember when I went on the Ellen show, like the adults in my life were like, oh, we need to get her some training. We're gonna hire a performance coach and all these things. But like, when you're that age, you really don't have a concept of like your imagination versus reality.
Yeah.
So when I performed on the show, I just thought about it like a theater performance or something. Like I did not understand that there were actually people on the other side of it, like watching it. And same for YouTube. Like I had no concept of like I knew people were watching, but not really.
I feel like that's kind of a protection for you too. That, especially at that age and in that stage of, it allowed you to play and it allowed you.
I was just playing. Yeah, for sure.
And be creative without the thought of anything that would limit the creativity.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. And then as I got older into like 14 and 15, like that's just such a self-conscious age and such an age of like forming identity, and wanting to just have the freedom to discover who you are and like do your own thing. So I started to feel a bit artistically frustrated by like other people's visions of my art and everything like that. And it led me into a place of really wanting to understand production for myself and like teaching myself via YouTube just how to be a producer and how to develop that language so that I wasn't frustrated when I was in a studio session, when I was like hearing something in my head and I couldn't articulate it. So yeah, I'm really grateful for the years of, I took a gap year after high school and just studied production on YouTube for a few years. And it led me to my now fiance, who's a producer.
Who's wonderful.
Yeah, he's the real deal. Yeah. But yeah, we'll probably get into that. I'm sure you have questions.
Well, you mentioned a really great thing I do want to touch on a little bit more, just for folks who also have this dream of, it doesn't necessarily have to be singing, but something in music. And you mentioned that there were some folks kind of 14, when you're 14, 15, who maybe had some limited ideas. And, you know, I talk with a lot of folks here about limitations that maybe we put on ourselves, but what did that look like? Did that cause you to put limitations on yourself of like what is possible or what this could look like? Or explain to me a little bit more like how that looked.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there was anything wrong with other people's vision. I think that their vision was very logical from a business standpoint of like, okay, you're gonna be a pop star and that's the vibe, and you're gonna sing about love and you love Rihanna, so let's do that. You know, you love Lady Gaga and Kesha, so let's do that.
Wow, okay.
And I think the Lord had like planted seeds back then of a deeper purpose for my voice. And the only place I really felt understood in like a different vision for my future was like when I was spending time with him.
I love that.
I felt like he was like, because I was like, do you even want me to be a musician, God? Like, is this even of you? Because the energy that's around this seems very just, where are you in all of it? You know? And I felt like, I think this is when I was like 14 or something. I felt like and I was hearing the voice of God. There's so much that goes into it.
Of course,
like, don't just hear something in your head and then like think it's God. Like, that's a whole other topic.
That's wisdom.
But
that's a whole separate podcast.
It's a whole separate podcast. But I did feel like a peaceful impression of him kind of whispering to me like, I do want you to keep doing music.
So good.
If you do it my way though, it's gonna take longer, but it's gonna be better. So and good. I was like, yes, I'm in. I want that. I don't want like the other way. And so it's been such a winding path. I mean, I started like 15 years ago.
That's wild to me. That you've been doing this 15 years.
know. Like, there's a lot of other people who are like on YouTube at that phase who are into another phase of their life. Like, they're not even doing music anymore. And like, I just feel like YouTube is just getting started for me.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you mentioned how many years you've been doing this, because a lot of people, you see people on stage, you see people in the studio, and they look like this overnight success. And thank you, like overnight success is a false thing. It's just, it doesn't exist. And so I love that your overnight success is actually 15 years of work.
Yeah, no, completely. I think that there is such thing as overnight success if you're like chasing virality. Like, people can go viral and make money. That's a thing. But then a lot of times, if it's not built on the substance of like 10,000 hours of practice and a skill set and like words of identity and affirmation over yourself and like building a support system, understanding even your physical health, like your mental health, emotional health, like what you need in a given situation. Like, that's why we see so many leaders in our generation experience so much struggle under the pressure of keeping up with that virality. And so, I just feel grateful that I've had really quiet moments in my life in between the bigger moments, to sit with like, who am I like apart from music? And how am I just loved as a daughter of God, just as a person, you know? And finding community was a really big part of that.
Absolutely, and we're gonna get into that in a little bit. You did touch on just when you were like, am I even meant to do this? Tell me about just whatever the circumstances were that made that moment kind of feel impossible, or making you question like, is this even for me? Like, what brought that about? Kind of just, and it doesn't mean that something necessarily happened, but just where mentally, because everyone that's chasing a dream, especially a big dream, you hit that place. I mean, that is the place that looks impossible. So what were the circumstances at that time? Like, what did that look like for you?
Yeah. I think when I mentioned that earlier, I was talking about when things were going really well in my career, but it felt really unfulfilling. So that's kind of why I was asking that question.
No, that's perfect.
But then there've been other times in my life where I'm asking that question because it's not going well. So I think there's,
it's both.
Yeah.
I love that. No, I love the questioning of, am I still supposed to do this when things are going well? People don't think about that. Of like, is this still actually for me? even though there is what appears to be success.
Yeah, because I think I was hungering for like a deeper meaning in it.
Yeah.
So my mom was like a missionary with Campus Crusade and traveled all around the world after college, just like showing the Jesus film to different countries. And she's just been so like supportive and like bringing it back to like my purpose in all of this, and was so, her prayers, both her and my dad, like have been so protective and like prayerful over this whole journey for me. And when I left my hometown in Illinois for LA, people were like, why are you going? Like, what's your vision? What's your mission? And I was like, I want to combine being a missionary with being a musician. I don't know how that's going to happen yet, but I want something like that.
I love that.
And I just felt like I don't have the tools in this moment to be that yet, because I was doing covers and I was a vocalist. And as I've gotten older, I feel like, okay, if I actually equip myself with educating myself on how to be a producer, getting vocal coaching experience, in addition to like pursuing my own career and everything, maybe I could actually help like other artists get to where they're going to, and just have both pieces in my life, like something that's like pouring out and then something where like I'm being poured into.
I love
as well,
that.
you know?
And hold that thought.
Yeah.
Folks, we'll be right back with more here on Redefining Possible with Maddi Jane. Welcome back to Redefining Possible. I'm your host, Peyton Hoffman, and here today with Maddi Jane. Now, before we had a little break, we were talking with Maddi about just those moments when the dream looked like, am I even still supposed to do this? And I love what you talked about with, you know, there are moments where you had success in what we would define as success in the world, but at the same time, it just was unfulfilling. And it was like, is this really what I'm still supposed to be doing? And the flip side of that coin is that you've had just an amazing journey in music and several, what I've called with you, launches along the way. Tell me about those moments that, or if there's one that maybe sticks out to you, of when you were like, this is really happening.
I think that there was a moment a couple years ago when I had been releasing, like, for those of you who are tuning in now, I was doing covers on YouTube when I was younger, and as a musician, I was a cover artist, I was a vocalist, and then I started to develop a hunger to learn production and be kind of on the back end side of things, only to further the language of being able to articulate the vision in my head and things like that. And so that step led me down a path of, okay, I'm gonna let go of a lot of the people in my life that were just supporting this cover vision, and really just have a moment with myself where I'm learning what my voice is for the first time, you know, ever. And so I just sat in my studio and dove into these like little subscription websites with the sounds like Splice and everything, and started to experiment and put out music that may not have been the cream of the crop quality that maybe even my previous stuff was when I was a kid and I had this huge team, but it was something that I had my fingerprints on from start to finish, from a production, writing, vocal standpoint. So it was really like my education. And I transitioned from putting out covers to putting out original music. But I don't really want to compromise morals or like the lifestyle that I get to pursue in following Jesus. And so I was releasing pop music, clean pop music, and realizing that my cover artist fan base is like, what are you doing right now?
Were they confused? They were.
Yeah, they were like, okay, but we followed you when you were like a little baby and you're doing covers, and now you're like older and you're doing originals, and it's not something we have a point of reference for, like another artist that we like. It's just, you know, that. And so I went through a season where I was like, okay, I have to be okay with the uncomfortable here. Of like, this is what my path is. This is what I feel like I need to do right now, even if not everyone is on board with it.
Yeah.
And even if it means like I have to take a financial hit or figure out groceries, figure out rent, like all of that stuff. Wow. But this was also during a season where God gave me like my best friends ever, which are my roommates in LA, and they all love the Lord, and a lot of them are creative in their own capacity, but they just supported so much the vision that I had and protected that space for me. So that was amazing. But I was in that season, and that's when I started to question, should I do this, but from a different perspective. I'm like, okay, God, I feel so rich in love in my life, and I feel so rich in your presence, but now it's like I don't feel clarity about like this music is connecting with anyone. Like I don't know what's going on. I need to eat, like what's going on. And then I remember I constructed my resume for a coffee shop job I was gonna do. And it was a hilarious resume because everything on it, minus 2 things, was all entertainment related. And I'm like, why am I turning in this resume? It's like
for the coffee shop.
I'm like, 6 years of Suzuki piano theory, 2 years of tap, jazz, ballet. Like what?
Like,
you know,
I can tap my way with your coffee.
Yes, exactly. But I was literally like gonna turn in this resume because I was like, I think I'm actually done. Like I think I'm quitting. I don't want to do this anymore.
Wow.
It's been so long. It's been so much like highs and lows and all of that stuff. And then the day that I was on my way to the coffee shop to turn it in, my best friend / manager, she called me and she was like, you were cast on like season 25 of The Voice. Do you wanna go? They need you at the location in 2 weeks and blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
I love the question of, do you want to go? Like, like, okay, would you not?
I know.
Where does that?
I know. Yeah. And I'm kind of at this point where like when big things happen, like I get so sussed out because I'm just like, really, God, like you still want me to do this? Like, hasn't it been enough? But it's like, what was crazy is every single week on The Voice, I was like, this is it. This is going to be the week I go home. Like, this is the week I go home.
Wow.
And like, it just kept going.
But
and then I got to like the semifinals, and
to see you on there, nobody would have guessed that. I mean, I wasn't like tracking, you know, I'd see clips. I didn't see it every week when you were on there, but you performed at such a high level and you were so confident and it was so beautiful. Nobody would have guessed that behind the scenes you were like, this is the week I'm going home. This is it. Like,
thank you. I mean, I practiced so much for that. Yeah. And as far as like putting in hours of work to practice and take care of my physical health and even tap into resources like what scripture has to offer in terms of protection and like mental protection, like the armor of God,
so much,
like faith, you know, all these things. Like I have lots of resources that I use to prepare for anything. And so I was confident from a standpoint of like, I have a purpose and like God has chosen me to be a light. Whether or not this is my opportunity, I don't know.
Right.
And that's still how I operate. Yeah. It's like, no, like I've got it on lock. Like I know I'm good at this. It's just, I don't know if his plan is like my plan.
If this is the thing.
Yeah.
Well, what I love about you writing your original songs for the first time, it's what really hit me as you were sharing that was this is the first time you were being truly Maddi and being truly authentic. And it's the same time at which you questioned, am I actually made to do this? Because the authenticity shifted your audience.
Yes.
And
yes, exactly.
Exactly. That is a whole thing. And but I love it because you were stepping into more of you. But like you said, people were kind of like, who is this girl? This is not what we've known since she was 11. This is not the 11-year-old Maddi that was groomed and, you know, given pops, you know, Rihanna-style pop songs. And, you know, this is a whole different vein.
Yeah.
And I see you just embracing it more and more, you know, with even your Christian album and your music that's been coming out and, you know, the different songs that have dropped. And this is the first time you've done this with Christian music, right?
Yeah,
I mean, this is the first time you have written all your own stuff and really gone after, hey, this is who I am as a woman, but as a Christian. And that's the genre. So tell me about just how that transition over the last couple of years, going from just starting to write your own music to putting out a Christian album, really changed your perspective of God in that too. Like how that's affected your music.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like my confidence in him has grown a lot since The Voice.
Yeah.
I remember like the night before the audition, I was spending time with him and I felt like he told me like, you're gonna get a 4-chair turn. And I was like, that wasn't of God. That was a passing thought. How could that be of God? That's like prosperity gospel.
That's my own heart.
Listen to that.
My own
like,
dream.
No. But the next day I got a 4-chair turn and I felt like he was, like his heart of like justice was kind of like roaring over my life. Like he was demonstrating to me like his power, and he was demonstrating to me like, you heard me right. Yeah. Like I remember that moment when you were 14 and you were like, I want to do this your way. Like I will make a way where there is no way for you.
Yeah.
And just getting to study under Chance the Rapper definitely affected creatively what I was leaning towards. Incredible. Because his song, you know, Blessing and Angels and Music Is All We Got and Finish Line, like those were so encouraging to me. And just him being in that space of gospel and incorporating choir and just artistically him not having to be the person that's like the forefront of everything. Like he just wanted music, whether that was like a choir or orchestra or like just anything to like bring like the glory, you know?
Yeah.
And so getting to study under him was like amazing, because I'm like, okay, maybe there is a place for upbeat worship music that's like pop, but it's just straight up like just good music that's like edifying and glorifying to God. And so that kind of was the first time I was leaning towards, I really want to make like worship music that just goes hard and like people can dance to and is like so fun. And so that kind of influenced that direction for me.
I love that. And we're going to dive into that a little bit more. We'll get right back. We'll be right back in just a minute with more from Maddi Jane here on Redefining Possible. Welcome back to Redefining Possible. I'm your host, Peyton Hoffman, and I'm here today with Maddi Jane. And before our last break, we were talking with Maddi about her experience on The Voice, and specifically her experience working with Chance the Rapper, and just how that really shifted your perspective of God, and really how that changed your music and your vision from kind of going from just even writing your authentic music to writing more of worship music. And what I would love for you to dive into for mainly the folks that are watching or listening that have similar dreams is just how that last couple of years, maybe from The Voice, where you started to step into more authentic music that's you versus covers and things like that, to now, how that really changed your perspective of yourself, because I know you've grown a lot in the last couple of years, and how that's changed your perspective of just what's possible for your life.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, to sort of talk about my perception of myself, it was so necessary for me to take some time, especially from like 18 to 23, to just dive into the craft of music versus just the virality of what had happened. Yeah, just really thinking to myself like, okay, do I see myself as a cover artist for the rest of my life? Do I want to be a music producer? Like, do I want to have skills that I could actually give to someone else someday? You know, and if God does bring more opportunities for me to sing, how do I want to be prepared? And I feel like what's helped me in the seasons where nothing is going on is that concept of preparation. Because when nothing is going on, you can be thinking to yourself, it's so silent, this must mean that I'm not meant for this.
Right.
There was specifically a season where my manager was encouraging me to do shows in Los Angeles that were bars and places that I wouldn't really go to hang out. Right. Because I don't drink because I have an autoimmune disease. But like, yeah, she would encourage me to go to these places, and I was like, I don't want to go. Like, it smells. There's like 25 people. You know,
Like, this is not
the
my
sound
thing.
system is meh. Like, but I'm so glad that she encouraged me to do that, because every single time I was practicing getting myself out there in real life. I mean, all the covers that I had done are for a camera.
Right. And how has that changed your view of, and just even your believing for whatever's possible in your life? I mean, growing up, you had one vision for it, and you've seen that happen in different ways. And so how has that shifted what you're believing for now in the future?
I think there's just like a couple scriptures that I've held on to through everything. I'll share if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's this one verse, like, the first shall be last, the last shall be first. And the concept of like the greatest leaders being the greatest servants. That's not how like our world approaches it. But when I was in this community house, there was lots of opportunities to serve. You know, when you have 8 girls in a house,
So
8
many.
rounds of dishes, 8 rounds of taking out the trash, of the laundry, moving the cars out of the driveway when there's like so many cars. And I just literally considered it an opportunity, like, God, I'm serving you right now. And there's that other verse that just says, like, delight yourself in the Lord, and, you know, he will give you the desires of your heart. And so in a culture that tells us we need to output all the time to get ahead, and like, there's no room for just a development season or whatever, like, anyone who's watching, like, and has a dream, I would just say, like, even though it's the opposite, serve God, like, with all your heart, and like, delight yourself in him. He will lift you up.
It's so good.
You know, and being willing to be like, I believe that I'm your child. I want to advance your kingdom in the world. And if my vision aligns with that, awesome. But like, God, like, make my dreams for my life your, like, make your dreams for my life my dreams for my life. You know?
And it's so easy, like you were saying, to in that what can be perceived to be a delay, or what can be perceived to be, you know, like for you, several big moments, but then this like immediate quietness in between the big moments of like, okay, go, 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 go. But then all of a sudden things stop, and the phone doesn't ring as much, and people aren't, you know, having you on their shows as much as they were. And so it's easy, I would guess it's easy in that season to kind of be like, did I miss it? What was that all the dream was going to be? Is this it? Should I be doing something else? And I think I love what you're saying is view it as preparation. You know, there's something coming to you that you're not ready for yet. And
because God is never finished. Like, he's so creative. Like, he's always just getting started. Like, we do go from glory to glory when we're fixed on Jesus. Like, I just read this recently, because it's kind of a Christianese term. Like, we go from glory to glory. And the other day I asked my friend, I'm like, what is actually the context of that verse? Like, I'm just wondering. Because people use it as like, I'm gonna get a new Tesla. Like, I'm going from glory to glory. And I'm like, what is the context of that? And basically it just says, like, the first part of the verse is for those whose eyes are fixed on Jesus constantly. They go from glory to glory. Because
it's so good.
His eyes are so deep. His love is so deep. Like, his plan is so big. So we go from glory to glory with him. But
I think of that verse in terms of like mountaintop to mountaintop. And you have these like mountaintop experiences. And I'm a hiker, so I kind of put things into that context. But I did the Mont Blanc circuit hike several years ago, which is like, I think it was 120 miles. It's so much
Good
hiking.
for you.
It's so much hiking. But it's northern Italy and then Switzerland and France. And so you're hiking the Alps. But in between each Alp, you know, you hit the summit, you see this incredible view, and then you have to go down and cross over on kind of flat ground to get to the next mountain, to then go back up and hike a new mountain. And so I think of those in-between times sort of as the in-between the mountains moments where you hit a mountaintop and then it's like, okay, you're going to go to another mountaintop.
Yeah.
But you got to get down the mountain, down the road, and then up the next mountain
Yeah.
to get there.
Yes, totally. My dad refers to it as like treading water.
Yeah.
Like in between catching a current or catching a wave, like surfing. You know, there's the times where you're just like paddling.
Yeah, there's
and you can't see another wave.
And you don't know when it's coming.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy because you don't know, you can't control it. And, you know, with waves, they do come to you. So,
but it's the ocean.
But you have to keep
you know
moving.
It's going to come.
Yeah, you have to keep moving. You can't just sit still because it'll crash over you. So that's, I love that analogy. That's fantastic. Well, and there's always more. So I think for a lot of folks too that maybe have had glimpses of the dream or the promise or they've had pieces of it come true, you know, continue to hold out for the whole thing, you know, and you're in a place right now. I'd love to talk about some of your new music that has just come out. You know, you've done your first Christian worship album, which is amazing. Do you have a favorite song? Can we share?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, I'm putting out a compilation of my first release of Christian pop music. Amazing. It's going to be coming out this fall. And there's going to be a song on it that I haven't released yet. It's called Good Plans. And it's just about, you know, everything that we've basically just been talking about.
This is very fitting.
You know, God's sovereignty over all the waves and the highs and lows and him rewarding perseverance as well.
And that there are good plans. I think that's a piece of it too, just when people can, you know, because this world, especially transitioning from covers or what people expected of you to what you actually were created to create, you know, that can look like, is the plan still good? Is it because you've had that transition and like we talked about your audience change, you've brought in, there's been new audience, but there also was a loss of people that were like, well, I'm not really into that anymore. And that's not really what I was looking for. And so just being okay with that, a full reset on that side of things and a reset in the people that you're working with and a reset in the people that you're surrounding yourself with. I mean, it's really, I think, changed being able to actually go after that dream that you had even just as a little girl, but in a different way has really shifted, I think, everything in your life. I mean,
yeah, I think that when I look back on the artistic journey that I had and doing covers and doing pop music and why I studied production and why I joined a Christian community, like this art form for me of what I'm making right now just seems like it's bringing everything together. Like it's bringing this desire that I had for meaning and also the desire I have to keep pushing artistically and just from an excellence form of like what's possible, you know, because I think I've always hungered for like that meaning in my music and I just feel like it started so many amazing conversations with people and it just feels like it's like rich right now.
I love that. And we're going to talk more about the community that's been a part of that. So when we get back, we are going to be talking more with Maddi Jane about the community and the people that have really helped make all this possible. We'll be right back with Redefining Possible. Welcome back to Redefining Possible. I'm your host, Peyton Hoffman, here with Maddi Jane. And before the break, we were talking a bit about just how rich this season is in your life and just what it's taken to get here. And I would love to touch on a little bit, just obviously dreams become possible in community. You know, they don't become possible on our own. And I think that's a really important thing for people that are watching and listening. And so tell me a little bit about the community that has championed you and, you know, especially maybe over the last couple of years as you've made that journey into more authentic music that's you and stepped out and really taken that leap of faith and taken that, you know, bold step. Who are the people that have championed you professionally, personally?
Yeah,
let's get into that.
Yeah, for sure. So I did go through a season earlier in my life where I had a huge team, support system, people who were twice my age, you know, and then felt like the Lord was drawing me into learning a bit more about production and equipping myself with more language to articulate what I was hearing in my head, you know, musically. And so that journey, I moved to Los Angeles, and my parents were like, okay, I was 19, by the way. They were like, you can move there if you find a Christian community first. We don't feel good about you just moving there if we don't know that you have good friends and people who are going to like guide you in the right way. This is the age of social media, right? So I had friends that were on Twitter, and I would be like, Mom, I know I have friends now. They're like, that's not what we're saying. Like, you can't.
That does not count. Your Twitter
friend
does not count.
No. And so, yes, I had a friend from theater, my Christian community theater called CYT that I did when I was younger, who was in this community called Culver House. And basically, it was a house of like 10 guys who were all in the entertainment industry, wanting to pursue God first and discipling each other and doing Bible studies and worship nights and outreach events and all these things. And so I got involved in their community pretty much right away.
I love that.
After I met them, my parents were like, okay, it seems like you're making good friends. You found this church that you like. We're okay with, you know, you going, seeing how it goes. And then through that church internship program I did at this church called Church Home, I met my now manager. Her name's Ashley, and she was fresh out of college, actually just finishing up college, and just had this dream that she really wanted to champion and support artists. But I was the first one that she would do that with.
Wow.
And so I went from, I'm like, okay, I've seen what it's, I'm like, okay, this is a fresh experience for you, but I feel like that might be just what I need right now, because in a lot of ways I'm starting over too.
Because you had seen it done high level, big team, professional.
Not a whole lot of room for my voice and all of that.
In the business sense, this is sort of like going to a startup. I mean,
exactly. I did go to a startup. It's been a startup. It has been a startup. And I didn't know anything about business. And so I think when I met her, she was the person who took all of this passion and like whimsy and exploration that I have. I'm very much I just value the sacredness of art, and I love classical music, and it's supposed to be pure, you know, and how can you market something?
Yes.
Because doesn't that make it like not pure anymore? Like if it's not within me and, you know, whatever. And she was just like, you need to post on Instagram. You need to get this out there. You need to be on a schedule. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, how can I do that? You know, but just, I've really seen God bring people into my life who have different strengths than me to help me get it out there to more people. And so the other thing I would say that's a huge part of following Jesus and becoming a creative is like allowing yourself to be moldable.
Yes.
And being okay with, you know, maybe something's not the way that you would want to do it, but it's going to help you go further, like in the long run, you know.
And Ashley's amazing. And the team at Break Room 17 is incredible.
Yeah.
How about, are there any maybe other producers that you've worked with or distribution folks that have really kind of championed you or given you opportunities that during this season where you're just like, man, like, I'm so thankful for them?
Yeah. Well, my fiance Julian is a producer.
Yes.
And he's so sweet because he produces music for me, and in exchange he's like, date night on Friday. I want
love that
10
trade.
Kisses on the cheek. I want
That's a beautiful trade-off. We love Julian.
Yes. I'm like, okay, so this many hours of you finessing with this vocal chop, and all I have to do is like make you dinner.
Go to dinner.
Sign me up. I'm so down. So yeah, he's been an incredible creative support, and he came at just the right time. I was so weary, and I felt like the Lord was like, here's a partner for you to do this with. And
So good.
he's so level-headed, and he's so filled with like faith for me and for like what God has for us in a way that I've really needed, because I've been in this 15 years and I tend to approach things a bit more cynically and like with skepticism. And with both Ashley and Julian, they lead with faith. Like they lead with the potential. And so it's just a beautiful partnership, because I feel like everybody needs that trade-off.
Everybody needs
you know?
that.
Because the Bible calls us to be, you know, wise as serpents, innocent as doves, and you can't have like one without the other, you know? So it's I feel like their faith for me has gotten me to where I am in a big way. And same with my roommate, Kaylee. She has a production company as well. It's like O'Shanahan Productions. I'm so proud of her.
We can name drop that. We're proud of her.
Yes, we're proud of her. It's a recent development. But she actually, we started like this community house together 8 years ago. And when we first moved in, she went around to all the roommates and she was like, I really feel like Maddi should be able to use the garage as her studio and not pay rent on it. I feel strongly that this needs to happen. Like, and she just advocated for me, and she helped me renovate it and put up wallpaper and clean out, you know, all the garage things that were there so that that could be a place not just for me to make music, but to really heal and like have that freedom and just sort of detox a lot of what I'd been through. So I could not be where I am if it weren't for like other people seeing the vision and being bold about like, no, this is what's on her life and I'm gonna like fight for this.
Well, and they advocated for you in ways that you didn't actually know you needed, which I think is so beautiful, that they could say like, Maddi needs this space. You know, she needs a safe space to make music and to unmake music and to figure out her voice and who she is. And, you know, not only did they see that in you, but they saw the, you know, Kaylee saw the importance of that. And I love that your other roommates agreed that that's, you know, 8 women in a house is a lot.
So sweet. It's so sweet of them.
And they were like, yeah, this is important. And they've continued to be, that whole house has continued to be a wonderful community for you. And you and Julian are getting married in a few weeks from this taping. And you guys are moving to Tennessee, to Nashville. I mean, what, as you're dreaming forward and looking forward, what is that looking like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I am leaving this house of girls that are my very best friends. We've lived together for 8 years now. I feel like I've become who I am, like in that garage studio. Like everything that you see on my Instagram, out in the world, like any confidence that you see in me is made from 5 other moments of having a breakdown with them. So everybody needs that. Like the industry is hard. Startup companies are hard. If you don't have a place to be weak, it's not going to be possible. You know, like having those safe people,
safe places, and people.
Who are going to just love you for who you are when you're crushing it and when you're not, you know? And so I am really sad to leave them, but I do feel like the Lord has just opened up so many doors in Nashville over the last year and a half. Some producers, songwriters, potential business partnerships. I feel like he's just been he's just blessed me a lot with like people who see a vision and believe, and I want to be obedient to what he's speaking right now, but it's gonna be a big transition. It's gonna be a lot. And,
you know, there is still a lot of music opportunity here. You'll come back. You'll be here back and forth.
Oh, I mean, yes.
For sure.
Totally. Julian's from here, so we'll definitely
so
be
you have
back
to come
quarterly.
Back.
Yes, exactly,
to
exactly.
see family, and thank goodness that Julian is from here, and we can do that.
Yes, yes.
What would you say, you know, just as we wrap all of this up, we've talked about so many beautiful things. What would you say to someone who, maybe a girl that's watching this, who has that dream of being a singer, who also wants to follow the Lord and do it his way? what would you say to her that maybe that dream kind of looks a little impossible right now?
Yeah, I would just say continue to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Know that every time you're practicing or singing behind closed doors and you're singing to him, like, he is enjoying that. He is receiving that offering, and trust that he made you that way for a reason. And despite all of the setbacks and the things that I've been through in my life, if God has called you to something, nothing can take it from you. It will happen. It will happen as you press into him and as you listen to his voice and you surround yourself with people who are just going to love you well and press you towards him. Nothing can stop it. And we're in a season right now in this world where there's artists arising to declare his return, that he is coming back. And there's so much room in that army, in God's army. There's so much room. There is a place for them. There's a place for you. And I would just say, like, yeah, get after it. Like, if you feel that call of, like, I'm meant to do this, don't give up on it, and just go to him when it gets hard, and he'll get you through it.
I love it. Well, I have loved having you.
I've loved being here too.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
That is this episode of Redefining Possible with Maddi Jane. Can't wait to see you all next time. What happens when the thing you've barely dared to dream for actually comes true? How does it change you when what you've been believing for and almost given up hope on finally becomes reality? The Redefining Possible podcast spotlights guests with stories of insurmountable odds who have witnessed the impossible become possible with God.